Alright, so we're going to take a look at factoring quadratics x game. This is what standard form looks like, and this is what we're going to make it be. Okay. Alright, so first step, put it in quadratic standard form. It already is, because you can see the square, the x, and then the number. Factor out the greatest common factor. If you don't do this, you're going to get it wrong. There's nothing to factor out. Next one, circle and label A, B, C in the question. So the first one's A, second one's B, third one is C. Note, don't forget the symbol of the invisible one. So in this case, we have an invisible one, but do not forget the symbols. Fill out the top of the bottom of the x according to the picture. So AC, so A times C on there, and then B on the bottom, so 2 on the bottom. Find the factors that multiply to AC and add to B. So what two numbers multiply to 1 and add to 2? So I know that 1 times 1 is 1, and then 1 plus 1 is also 2. So that's actually my two numbers. Then we're going to divide those by A. Okay, so we're going to divide it by A. So A is 1. So we're going to divide it by 1. That's going to give me 1 on the left and 1 on the right. All right, if it is a whole number, this is what you're following. So that's what we're following. GCF on the outside. We don't have a GCF. Then the parentheses says x plus whatever the whole number is on the left. So that's x plus 1 in parentheses. And then x plus the right whole number, which is x plus 1. So that's how you factor x plus 1, x plus 1. So we're not solving yet, we're just factoring. All right, second question, I'm going to repeat the process. So again, put in quadratic form, it is, I see the squared, the p, and the number. Factor out the greatest common factor, I can take out 3. When I take out 3, I'll be left with p squared minus 4p minus 21, because I just divide those numbers by the 3. This is a listening check. Put a box around number 2, or example 2. All right, can I take anything else out? So double check. No, I can't. So I'm taking it out. Next one, circle and label A, B, C in the question. So A is what's next to p squared. There's nothing there, so it's an invisible one. Then label B and label C. Okay, don't forget the symbols. Now fill in the top and the bottom of the x. So AC and then B. So A times C on the top. So what two numbers multiply 21 and add to the B, which is negative 4. Okay, find the factors that multiply to the top number and add to the bottom number. So let's write down the factors of 21. 1 times 21, 3 times 7. And it looks like it might be that. So let me play with the signs. 3 times 7, let's say negative. One of them is negative, and it's got to be the 7 because its answer is negative 4. So 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. 3 plus negative 4 is negative 7. All right. Is it divide by A, which is now 1. So I'm going to get 3 and negative 7. If the number is a whole, let's follow these instructions. So what's your GCF? That's going to be 3. Then x plus the left whole is x plus 3, x plus the right one, x minus 7. Okay, so that's how you factor. So now we're going to take a look at solving. Solving is the same thing as factoring, only you set each parenthesis to equal to 0 and so forth. So again, the same process. Take out the GCF. So I know these are all even numbers. I'm going to take out 2. All right, when I take out 2, what is left inside? So 12 divided by 2 is 6. 68 divided by 2 is 34. 40 divided by 2 is 20. Okay, these are still all even, so I can take out another 2. I have 4 outside now. That's half in 6 is 3. Half of 34 is 17. Half of 20 is 10. All right, I can't take out anything else, so I'm good on that. All right, so let's go ahead and make my x, AC on the top, and B in the middle, bottom. All right, label A, B, C. Don't forget the symbols. Okay, make sure you include those. All right, so A times C is on the top, and then B is in the middle. So now we are finding the factors of 30. So let's list them out. We have 1 times 30, 2 times 15. And it looks like that might work. Let me play with the signs. If I want negative 17, let me make them both negative. Let me check it. Negative 2 times negative 15 is 30. Negative 2 plus negative 15 is negative 17. So this works. Divided by A. So A is 3. I'm going to get negative 2 over 3 and negative 5. All right, if you have a fraction, now we're going to write our answer this way. The GCF, the left denominator, and then x plus the left numerator. All right, so what that means is your GCF, which is 4, the left denominator, which is 3, okay, left denominator 3, and then x, and then your left numerator. So that's going to be minus 2. On this other side, I have a whole number. So it's just going to be the x plus the right whole number. So it's x minus 5. As a listening check, color in the title, solving quadratics x game. For now, we're just going to set each parenthesis equal to 0. So 3x minus 2 equals 0, x minus 5 equals 0. And then solve it. Minus 2 that side is plus 2, so that's 3x equals 2 divided by 3. You're going to get 2/3. Minus 5 to that side plus 1, x equals 5. So it's either 2 over 3 or x equals 5.
Looking at this question, it says first write it out in standard form. So the standard form means you need to take this to the left, So I'm going to write it down how it mistakes. So it should go x squared, then the one of the x. If I took this, it's going to change from positive to negative. And then you have this plus 4, and then equals 0. Okay, so again, you must start off with a standard form. Next step was to take out a GCF. Is anything common in all three? No, so that one's okay. All right, next step is a label. So invisible 1, -8 plus 4, so that's A, B, C. I fill out the x thing, so AC, that's going to be 4, and then B in the middle, -8. Find your factors that multiply to that and add to that. So multiply to 4, so that's going to be 4 times 1. That's not going to give you 8. 4 times, 2 times 2, that's not going to be anywhere near 8. So this one, actually, we're going to have a problem. So with this one, you have to use the quadratic formula. So for that reason, I am going to change this question instead of changing it. So if I move this to the other side, it's going to be x squared minus 8x, because it must be in standard form first, right? Plus 4 equals 0. And as you can see, we can't find two numbers that multiply to that 4 and actually make it an 8, because there aren't any two numbers that do that. With that being said, that you're going to use the quadratic formula, or you can do completing the square, or you can legally cheat. So I'm going to show you legally cheat on this one, and then I'll go back to doing it with that way you'll have an example of how to cheat this. Okay, so to cheat this, you're going to copy that whole thing into your Desmos calculator. And again, this is legally cheating because you are allowed to use this Desmos calculator. So if you just copy it inside, all right, this is what you get. Right now, because you're solving, and this is only for solving quadratics, because solving quadratics actually has like a number of. So because I'm solving, I can just come right here. And because I'm solving for what? X, right? All my questions are X. So look at the X value, which is 0.536. You're going to put it here, 0.536. I'm going to double check that that's what it was. Click in there and check 0.536. Hit the fraction bar. And this is basically giving you, remember, your denominator. Now, this is actually your answer. So X equals 67 over 125. And or you can leave it as a decimal. Just depending on how they want the question to be. 0.536. And we notice that it crosses twice, right? Because we usually have two numbers now. It doesn't have to be 2 times, it could just be 1. But in this case, we definitely have it twice. So that's the second one. What's the X value? 7.464. So it's 7.464. Into a fraction. So I'm going to go check the flow that I picked the thing, 7.464. So this is my fraction, just depending on how they want the question answer. So cheating or using the Desmos calculator is definitely not faster. However, I will have to warn you unfortunately. This is the basics of algebra. You need to know how to do this. So here I'm going to show you how to do both, but you definitely need to know how to do it. So once you know how to do it, you can save time by just cheating. So for cheating in Desmos, especially in the equation is how you see it. You can either do it that way or this way, doesn't matter. And then you'll find the solutions or the root of the number. This, another word for this is solution. Right? So solve quadratics, find the solution. So solution gives us in the sense. Or zeros only the same thing. So since it's set to 0, that's what that means. All right, but we are going to go back to doing it the regular way. So I'm going to do this last question regular. So again, make sure it's in standard form. It is. If they squared the letter and then the number, there's nothing on this side. If there was on this side, I need to bring it over and combine. But there's nothing. It's obviously faster to cheat it. So I'm just going to type it in real quick, and we'll use it to check our answers. So minus 37. I'll use X because the calculator recognizes X. And I should get, and I might have to zoom in, get my 2 points, 0.455, 0.455, and 0.667, 0.667. Make sure I factor in my 36x squared minus 37x plus 10. All right, now I'm going to actually do it the long way and see if I come up with the same answer. All right, so let's see. So again, multiply those two. That goes in the top, so that's going to be, actually, I'm sorry. Before you multiply, we have to take everything here, right? So what can I take out of all of these? If I don't know that, I can come here and look. I can take out a 337. Yeah, it's a fraction. So I'm going to check the different numbers for the 37, but that's going to be the one that's weird. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, it's not even 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, so this is not even divisible. So with this one again, you got to use the quadratic formula, complete the square or cheat. So here we are, we're going to cheat through it, and we're going to get x equals, this is a listening check, circle number 5. Going to get 0.45, or x equals 0.667. Okay, so again, your solutions or your roots or your zeros are where it crosses the x-axis. So you just got to go and look at it, and those are your solutions. So that's how you use the decimal calculator legally to solve all of them. I am, since I'm here, going to show you how to also do it to factoring. All right, so remember there's a difference between factoring. So factoring has one less step than solving, right? But you can still get it from the calculator. So since we're here, we're going to check one of these. So I'm going to put that one in. So 3p squared minus 12p minus 60p. All right, so if you remember when we did this earlier, equals, I don't even have to put zero. So zoom out so you can see it. Boom. Where are my roots? At -3. So we should have gotten, on this one, I don't remember right now, but we should have got a -3 or, let's see what that is, 7. But this is the answers, right? Now, factoring doesn't have the answers. It's one step before the, so you got to go backwards. Now, if you remember, you set it equal, we take the, whatever the parentheses is, and you set it equal to 0 and you solve it, right? So now we got to go backwards. So if I solve it at the end and I get -3, if I'm trying to get it equal to 0, all I have to do is take this to the other side, right? Going backwards. So if I take it back to the other side, it's going to change from -3 to positive 3. And now I'm going to have a 0 here, and there's my factor. So this factor will be x plus, this one would be x minus 7. And the same thing as if you had a fraction, so let's say you have x equals 2/7, right? You want to go back and make it x equals 0. So we're going to multiply everything first by 7. So if I multiply by 7, get rid of the 7. So I'm going to have 7x equals 2. Take the 2 to the other side, that's going to be 7x minus 2 equals 0. So this will be the factor, 7x minus 2. So if it's a whole number, it's easier, it's just the opposite. If it's a fraction, you just have to remember it's just like we wrote it down. It's 7x and then the opposite of this minus 2. Again, if that's a bit confusing, you're more than welcome to do it longer. But that's how you do it.